Alright everyone, welcome back. wxninjaa, another Hurricane Dorian update here as of about 2:30 Eastern time. As you can see, just a big old storm here. Still category 2, 110 mile an hour, 958 millibars, moving north-northeast at 8 miles an hour. So it's finally making that northeast turn. See a lot there on radar. It's pretty intense there along the South Carolina, North Carolina coast. Just a big storm pushing around a lot of water. So we're seeing lots of tornadoes coming up on the coast here. I think they've seen about 17 so far, and they just spin up real quickly and move inland real quick. They're not long-lasting, long-track tornadoes like you see in the Midwest, but still, even an F1 tornado coming ashore, it can do some damage. So let's take a look here. Myrtle Beach and into Wilmington, Southport here, they're going to have a real close call with the eye making landfall there. So as you can see the projected path, it's going to put the eye wall. The eye may not go over these areas, but the eye wall, they're going to see some of the outer ring of the eye wall. It's going to be intense rainfall, wind, storm surge, that kind of thing right now. If you look up into Wilmington, you can see the flow is out of the southeast there. Flow's coming in here. So the water, the storm surge is going to start piling up. Along with the heavy rain, they're going to see probably about 12 to 18 hours of some pretty intense wind. Could see wind gusts up to 90 miles an hour. So it's going to be a bad situation if you live anywhere in this area. I would get out of the way of this thing. You don't want to mess around with 90 mile per hour wind gusts. They'll just tear things apart. Seen lots of trees down in North Carolina around Charleston. Some minor flooding just from what I saw, but they still have some heavy rain to go. And so that's just going to help, saturate the ground, and you're going to see more standing water. So they got to be careful in those areas. Watch out. See some power lines down. There was a house fire, I believe, from a power line falling. So you just got to watch out for that kind of stuff. Let's take a look here, the larger view of the hurricane. You can just see it's a very broad storm. It's going to affect a large area. You can see the eye there. It's filling in a little bit. The storm should start to weaken, but it's going to take its time in doing so. So just got to wait it out. It's going to be another probably couple days before it gets out of this area, and then it's going to go up into Virginia, and hopefully it'll stay off the coast and will not make a landfall anywhere. But still, it's so close now that it's going to really affect these areas. And so you can see the only thing really that's changed, is the pressure has stayed the same, but the winds have gone down a little bit. It went from 110 to 115 back down to 110. So that's just the threshold between a Cat 2 and a Cat 3. Cat 3 is 115, Cat 2 is 110. So they're seeing hurricane force wind gusts occurring in Charleston Harbor. That was of 5 September 2019, 1700 UTC. So this area, you're going to see some flooding. You're going to see some damage from the wind, a lot of rain. So if you're in that area, just be real careful. If you can get out, get out. I'm sure a lot of people have evacuated, but still, there's a lot of big trees that are going to go down, and you're going to get that saturated ground plus the wind. It's a big disaster just waiting to happen. All the trees obviously still have leaves on them, so that just makes them act like more of a parachute. you can get the overall look of the tropics here. See, there's Dorian. There's a couple disturbances out here. Some waves coming off the coast of Africa. Take a look here. Here's Dorian. Here's disturbance number 1, 10% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. It's poorly defined and significant development is not anticipated. So probably not much going to happen with this one. This one, same kind of thing. Only slow development of the disturbance, if any, is expected during the next couple of days while it moves slowly northwestward. So it's going to head up into here. It doesn't look like it has a good chance to develop. Here's Tropical Storm Gabriel. See, 1,000 millibars now, 50 mile an hour, and the winds are 10. It's moving northwest. Or I'm sorry, it's moving northwest at 10 mile an hour. The winds, or maximum sustained winds, are 50 miles an hour. So it's moving off like this. It shouldn't affect the U.S. We should be okay there. Then we got this one. It has a 20% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours and a 60% chance in the next 5 days. Let's see here. It is moving westward across the tropical Atlantic. So it's moving like this. This, 15 north. It's a good area for development, tropical development. We'll see. We'll see what the conditions are like over here, if they're favorable for development. With this one not having a high chance of developing, then this one may be moving into an area. Right now this area isn't a good area for development, so maybe that'll be good for this one. But they're saying 60% chance in the next 5 days, so yeah, maybe conditions over here are changing. That might be more favorable for the tropical development in the next week or so. So again, here's the overall view of the tropics, and you can kind of see it in here. There's Dorian once again off the southern coast of California, or the southeast coast of California. I'm sorry. Carolina, South Carolina, moving up into North Carolina here. It's going to come awfully close to the coast there, if not make a landfall. Now hopefully it'll stay off the coast, but we still don't know. There it is on radar. You can see it's hammering Myrtle Beach right now, hammering Southport. Wilmington's going to start seeing the impacts. Charleston's just under heavy rain. It's going to be that way for a while. That's why they're going to get that flooding in there. Again, Cat 2, very broad storm, 110 mile an hour, 958 millibars. Pressure's not real low, but it's still a strong storm. It's moving north-northeast at 8 mile an hour. We finally have the northeast track going. We'll hope this thing stays offshore and doesn't make a landfall anywhere, but it's going to be pretty bad. We'll have to see what happens with this one. Again, hopefully it does stay off the coast there and head off to the northeast. We also have the aerial photos. This is in the Bahamas. And you can just see, mass destruction down there. You see pictures like this, it reminds me of what I saw in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. Just tons and tons of debris. A lot of storm surge pushed these houses around, and all the debris pushed it all together in one big pile. There you see the containers from the port. They got washed around. Again, I don't think these came off of a ship. I don't think they came off of trucks. It doesn't look like. Probably just stacked in the port and they just got washed around. Here's more damage. There's a house just totally destroyed. You can see second floor over here. Looks like it just fell over. Looks like a wall there. And a wall there. Another piece of a wall there. Just big damage there. Again, you look at these pictures and look at that debris field. It's just, if you remember Japan, when Japan had their earthquake and their tsunami some years back, this is what you saw a lot of. A lot of water just came and wiped things off their foundation, destroyed a lot of things. and then as the water receded, it just dropped everything right where it was. So you can see vehicles on their side, you can see all the containers in here, just tons and tons of destruction. A lot of wind damage over here in these homes. Maybe the water didn't make it that far, it wasn't as high over here, I'm not sure, but man, this is a lot of destruction. Looks like another container up there. There's a plane, looks like it probably got washed over there from the airport. I don't think this is something that crashed into the water. There you see some more debris right there, and you see other pieces of debris in the water. Here's a little closer up view of all that destruction in there. Just tons and tons of homes damaged in the Bahamas. Just a disaster. There's over 20 dead in this area, so just a horrible, horrible situation. They're going to need tons of relief. I have information in the live chat here. In the description, I mean, it shows, you know, the evacuation areas in Florida, Georgia, into the Carolinas, up into Virginia, as well as a link for the FEMA app, as well as information to donate to Red Cross for the Hurricane Dorian relief. There's another house. You can see water there and water here, so not in a good spot. Water obviously came over this whole thing. A lot of wind damage. Roof is gone, and the walls are, man, the walls are destroyed. This is probably another story up here. This is probably a closet or something, or maybe a bathroom. Maybe that's a toilet right there. Just a horrible situation. I mean, just destroyed the Bahamas. Here's another one. You can see a couple houses here just destroyed. If we go back and look, here's Dorian right now, Category 2, 110 mile an hour, 958 millibars, moving north-northeast at 8 miles an hour. If you're anywhere around here, it's going to get real rocky, especially up in North Carolina. Eye wall is going to go very close to Myrtle Beach, Southport, Wilmington. You're going to see lots of storm surge, wind, heavy rains for hours on end. And I can imagine they're getting some strong storm surge right now in Myrtle Beach as that flows coming up and into the northwest area here, just pushing right on shore, pushing all that wall of water into the Myrtle Beach area. Another thing they're getting is tornadoes. We've seen about 20 so far. These are going to be quick spin-ups, probably rain wrapped. You're not going to see them coming, and they're not going to be long lasting, but it doesn't take much to get damage. Even if it is just a little F1 tornado, it can still take lives, destroy property. So it's a dangerous situation, so you got to be careful if you're in this area. Stay real tuned to the weather, because you never know when these are going to come. Hopefully a lot of people have evacuated inland, gotten out of the way of this thing, but I know everyone can't always evacuate, so if you're in that area, just be real careful. Don't drive through any water. You know, they always say turn around, don't drown, or go around barricades. Just be smart. So yeah, just tons of rain headed into this area right now. Lots of wind. Wind's going to pick up. Myrtle Beach, Southport, Wilmington area. The winds are just going to get stronger and stronger as we go out throughout the night. So it's going to be a stormy night ahead for these people. Dangerous situation. Like I said, we've seen power lines down. We've seen a house fire from power lines falling and creating a fire at the house. So, you know, that's just the wind hitting the power lines with branches and various debris. So you got to be really careful. And here's the broad view of the storm. You can see just how big it is, how big of an area it's affecting right now. It's got a lot of energy behind it, so that's really going to have the storm surge going. Nothing like they saw in the Bahamas, but you know, even 5 to 8 feet of storm surge, that can definitely do some damage. Another big thing is going to be beach erosion. There's going to be a ton of beach erosion with this. You know, and I've been down in coastal Georgia, coastal southern Georgia, and I've seen a lot of the dunes and whatnot, and it doesn't take much for this water to get up there, start eroding the dunes, and go right over it. So you got to be real careful if you live anywhere along the coast. You got to keep a close eye out, and hopefully people along the coast have evacuated already. If you have any questions, just feel free to put them in the chat. I'll answer them for you the best I can. Maybe you know someone in the area, or maybe you're in the area and you're not sure about evacuations. Again, there's all the links in the description of this live stream that show the emergency management for all the states from Florida up to Virginia, as well as the FEMA app that you can download and have on the go if you are evacuating. Let's go over to the radar here, and you can see some heavy rain moving into this area. Charleston, you know, they're having flooding right now, and it's just going to continue until this moves out, but as you can see, it's going to be a while. As we take a broader view, it's going to be a while before this is going to get out of the way. So Charleston, they're going to be under the gun for a while here. You still see on the southern part there's some more moisture here. This is just going to continue to wrap around and throw this moisture over Charleston. Now the flow in Charleston, as far as the wind goes, is now out of the northwest, so it's helping to push the ocean back out and letting these rivers and stuff drain. But still, the rain's going to be so heavy, it's not going to be able to keep up with it, and you are going to see some flooding. See some flooding on the streets and whatnot. So let's look at some more pictures here of the Bahamas. Just again, heavy damage. Just took out everything. You can see this is the foundation, probably made of concrete in there. It looks like a concrete pillar with some support. Just took out everything above that. You know, when you get 220-mile-an-hour wind gusts, that's like a tornado coming through. Just a devastating situation there. Another thing in the U.S. you got to worry about is with these tornado threats that we've, you know, like I said, we've seen about 17, I think, maybe almost 20 of them now. They'll come and they'll do just damage just like this, even if it is, you know, little F1. They'll do some damage, maybe not this extent, but you'll still get the damage. So you got to be real careful, and you know, if you're in that area, you got to keep an eye out for tornadoes in that North and South Carolina area right now. So here's more wind damage in the Bahamas. Maybe this area wasn't as in the path as the other areas. Still have a lot of standing water, still a lot of wind damage, but not as bad. They may not have gotten the storm surge as bad as well, so that's why these buildings didn't get a wash away. Here's a couple houses just on a little outlet here, the island, just totally surrounded by water. So they got a ton of storm surge, a lot of wind. Now this one right here may be all made out of concrete. That's the only reason it would still be standing. Doesn't look like it got much damage other than the trees from the storm surge washing up there. So here's more on a little strip of island here, totally surrounded by water. Just, you know, when you get all that storm surge and 220-mile-an-hour winds, I mean, this is the damage that it does. Obviously a beautiful view, but hate to be there during the hurricane. So here we see more storm surge, pretty high up. Got the wheel wells covered almost totally on this vehicle. A little less over here, maybe this is a little higher area or something, but I mean, this house has a lot of damage to it. Not sure if they cut this out to rescue people or what exactly happened here, but this looks like a pretty straight line. Maybe it's just the way the roof came off. Took off some of the sheeting. This image here just tells the story. This is just, it's like putting stuff in a blender and turning it on. This is what the water does when you get that high storm surge. Very damaging. So again, this is a Cat 2 hurricane right now. Dorian is 110 mile an hour, 958 millibars, moving northeast at 8 miles per hour. Again, it's going to make a real close call with coming ashore in Wilmington. We'll see if it stays off the coast or not, but it's going to be close. They're still going to receive the effects of the eye wall because it's going to be so close, even though the storm itself isn't going to come ashore. They're starting to get some storm surge coming in. You can see the flows coming out of the southeast here. and it's just piling all that water up into the Wilmington area here in the coast, and all these little bays and whatnot. And it's going to be a close call for this landfall. Lots of heavy rain going through Wilmington, or just to the north of Wilmington right now, and that's just going to increase. You're going to see the winds increase, so it's going to be a long day and night ahead for these people up here. We'll look at the overall view of the tropics here. You can see there's Dorian there, lavishing the east coast there, and South Carolina. A couple of disturbances out and about. Take a look here. You'll see a couple of disturbances. Tropical storm Gabriel. Gabriel isn't going to affect the U.S. They don't think right now. It's moving off with the northwest. This one, same things. Not expected to really form into much and make any impacts. This one, moving off to the northwest. They don't really think this one's going to form, but this one has the best chance, 60% chance in the next 5 days as it moves west through the Atlantic. So this will be the next one we'll have to keep our eye on. Maybe 10-12 days from now it will get to the U.S. We'll have to see what kind of development, it can make. So there it is, a big broad storm, and that's what's going to cause a lot of flooding, storm surge, wind, rain. It's just going to be a rocky night across the Carolinas. If you're anywhere near the Wilmington area, be real careful. You're going to get into the tornado threat as this thing gets closer, so that'll be later tonight. You know, it's already going to be dark. You're going to have tornado threat. It's going to be rain-wrapped tornadoes. You're not going to see them coming, so you got to stay real vigilant if you're in this area. Keep the weather, turned on so you know what's going on, because these tornadoes are going to spin up quick. Although they won't be long track tornadoes, they won't be real strong. They can still do a lot of damage, take lives, damage property. So you got to be careful. Again, here's the radar view. We'll zoom in just a little bit. And you can see right now Charleston's under some heavy bands. They're going to see a lot of localized flooding with all this rain. Good news is the flow is out of the northwest now, so it is not allowing for the storm surge pile up. They should be out of that threat, but still there's a lot of water piled up. It's going to take a while to drain all those bays and rivers, and they're expecting another 3 to 6 inches of rain, so that's going to really help have a threat of localized flooding. So if you see water on the roadway, just don't drive through it. You never know how deep it is. You never know how strong that flow is, and last thing you want to do is get caught up in that. Again, if anyone has any questions, just feel to type them in the chat. I'll answer them the best I can for you. Maybe you're in this area or know someone in this area, whatever the case may be. Or if you just have any hurricane questions in general, maybe wondering what this storm's going to do or what's coming up next and how the tropics are looking, that kind of thing, I can show you and answer the questions the best I can. But as it sits right now, North and South Carolina are getting impacted. Again, it's going to come real close to making a landfall up here in the Wilmington area. Hopefully that won't happen. So here's some more photos from the Bahamas. So you see some people, it looks like they're, maybe trying to help other people or whatnot, maybe evacuating to a general area. This one has a lot of roof damage. Obviously, that looks like it might be a partial collapse there of the roof. Here, more houses just on a little chunk of island here, not very wide at all. And you see their docks have been washed away. Lots of damage to these homes in here. I'm sure they took, maybe the brunt of the storm. There's another little area, lots of damage. Maybe a whole floor came off here, not sure. Same thing there. See that partial roof collapse. Lots of debris here. Makes me think some walls fell down. You see a foundation here. Maybe this was a carport or something. Not real sure, but definitely some damage. Again, this is just what storm surge does. Moves everything around, and then as the water recedes, it just dumps it where it lays. This is real deep in debris. You can see, these houses. It's all the way up to these house roofs. There's another shipping container. It came from the port somewhere. Again, probably wasn't on a ship or a semi or anything. Probably just stacked up in the port. Water came up and just moved it around wherever. Little broader view of the damage. You can see these vans just destroyed. These houses are destroyed. Tons of people lost their homes down there. This will all have to be just destroyed and bulldozed, and everyone will have to rebuild, which is going to take a long time to get everything back to normal down there. You're talking about building hundreds of homes and getting the electrical grid on. We don't know if water, sewer, gas, all that, just different utilities, probably going to have to be rehooked back up and fixed. So it's going to take a while. Get another closer view here. You see water in the background, so you know that storm surge was high. Water still hasn't receded. Dangerous situation. Here we go back to the radar view, and it's a big dangerous storm, pushing around a lot of water, doing a lot of wind damage. It's going to do a lot of damage with the water too. Just heavy rainfall. They're going to see some localized flooding in spots. Last report I saw, winds were expected to get up to around 90 miles an hour in the Wilmington area, and that's going to obviously do a lot of damage, coupled with the storm surge, the beach erosion, the rain. You're just going to see a lot of damage happen from all those, just a combination of all those. So let's refresh this page, see if we can get a new update on the hurricane as we look at some more photos. Again, this is just a lot of damage from that hurricane. This reminds me of what I saw in Hurricane Katrina. A lot of damage when I went down there after Katrina and looked around. The water just rises and pushes everything around. I didn't see quite this damage, but this reminds me more of Japan when they had their big earthquake and had the tsunami come in and just wipe things out. The water will come in, move things around, and then as the water recedes, it just drops everything where it lays. Let's see if we got a new update here. Now over here, this is going to take a second to load. So the new 3 p.m. advisory hasn't changed any. 110 miles an hour, 958 millibars, moving northeast at 8 miles an hour. So it has picked up with just a tiny bit of speed. That will help. Wish it was going faster. That would help even more. We'll get this loop started here, but big thing to watch out for too with this is the tornadoes. We're seeing lots of tornadoes pop up, and you won't see them coming. They're going to be rain wrapped. Plus, it's going to be getting dark over there as this gets up into Wilmington. So you got to be real careful right now. Keep a close eye on the weather. If you have any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know. I'll answer them the best I can. There's lots going on in the tropics as well. But if you're anywhere on the South or North Carolina coast, you need to keep a close eye on this. There's going to be lots of wind, rain, storm surge, beach erosion. You're going to see some localized flooding, and you're going to get some damage from the winds. Alright, well that's going to wrap it up for me for now. We'll come back later, probably do another live stream in a couple hours, see if we get some new updates, be able to further track this path, see just how close it's going to come to Wilmington. Hopefully it won't make a landing in here around Myrtle Beach. or I believe there's Southport right here. But that's going to do it from now. This is wxninjaa. Thank you for stopping by, and we will see you next time.